Okay, is looking good. It is good game o'clock. Time to play a good game that I know is good. Game for today is Micromages. There'll be music in a bit. Just the title screen eventually runs out of music. I'm gonna get right into it. This game's not gonna be terribly long, but I am gonna try to do the challenge mode because there's a second quest in the game. I don't think I've ever beaten the challenge mode before, but I can certainly try. So, yeah, this is an NES homebrew game. It works. It not only works if you load it into an NES, but I'm gonna turn that down in my ear a little bit. It not only works in an NES, but also it uses the smallest chipset possible. It's only 32 kilobytes, so the same size as Super Mario Brothers without Duck Hunt. The Duck Hunt package ups it to 64 KB. And some notable things that this game did to keep file size down are really neat. For one, you notice all the sprites are really small. That's because a lot of NES games used compound sprites to build larger, more detailed characters. Even Mario, I think, is 2 sprites, maybe even 4. And this little guy is just 1. But having him just be 1 means that every time a new animation is called on, they can change the sprite completely. So there's like a look up, a little dance, left, right, with some wiggling, some jumping, the shooting. Like, there are a ton of animations on this guy that would be really not feasible on the NES if it used a compound sprite. Plus, using such a small sprite means you have tons of screen real estate. As slowly as the thing scrolls, you can really explore the stages quite thoroughly because you're so small in comparison. Another thing is that every level is actually mirrored with itself. Like, you can tell obviously here, it's symmetrical. But all levels are symmetrical in a coding sense, which means that they took half a level, they took half a screen, and they mirrored it. But then what they did is they offset it by a number of pixels or a number of tiles, and in doing so, they create things that don't look symmetrical, but they actually are, and thus it takes a lot less memory to render them, because the game's able to call on the same index multiple times and then just offset them, which is a very small amount of data comparatively. You can also destroy checkpoints like in Shovel Knight for some extra points. I think points get you extra lives, which will be relevant if I go into challenge mode. If I decide to do challenge mode. Although, you have unlimited credits. You can just keep trying over. But it will start you at the beginning of a world, so like if you die in 3-3, you'll go to 3-1, you know? And you don't get that many lives. So, having a few extra here and there really helps. So there have been some times where I've decided to speedrun the games I've played, and this is a very speedrunnable game. But unlike the other ones that I've done, this one actually has a community, quite a large one. There's something like 30 different people on the any% leaderboard. Compare that to the grand 2 in Shmup Tactics now, me and one other guy who submitted, and the 3 for Basket Bell. This game has a speedrunning profile, not quite as large as like Mario or Mega Man, but it's still pretty big. More like Contra, you know? Maybe not quite as big as Contra. But definitely as if it were a fairly big name NES game, which is pretty impressive. But this game does lend itself very well to speedrunning. You can really get schmoovin' And the controls are just so tight that it feels great to get good at. I'm collecting points for the sake of getting more lives, but you can easily ignore them and make some really fast progress. So, you're only allowed to have 2 bullets on screen at once. The sort of standard for NES games was usually 3. Having 2, though, means that slowdown isn't as big an issue. But it also means that enemies far away are hard to kill quickly. But enemies close up die just as fast. I don't really know how well this game actually runs on NES hardware, like if it has any slowdown issues. Obviously, running it on a computer, using the computer's processor is not going to have any issues. Even the executable version of this game is like 6 megabytes. Also, you see those little guys there in the score. That's because this game is co-op playable. You can play with 4 people at the same time. That was a specific design choice they had going in, is that they wanted an NES game that was co-op, because there weren't really very many of those. Maybe some beat-em-ups, but that was kind of it. I'm not really concerned about dying at all until, like, the 3rd tower. So I feel perfectly safe destroying checkpoints for points until then. So the 3 things that kill me in no particular order in this game are the shot limit, the bounce that you get when you fall a long distance, that can really mess you up, and then my own blundering incompetence. But you know, that's probably the #1 reason. I did play this game last night all the way through, so I'm still pretty fresh on it. But don't you think for a moment that that'll stop me from being wildly incompetent at times. Yeah, that heart floats up at certain, I assume, point thresholds. I don't actually know for sure. Goats. I like how these guys sort of jump up to avoid your shots, and so on these platforms they kind of keep going up and away. So the way your health works in this game is it's based on the power-ups you pick up. So I have a fairy and a wing, and so that's max health, so that means I can survive 2 hits. The first time I get hit, I'll lose the wing, and then the second hit, I'll lose the fairy, and then I'll die. Don't touch me with that. But I hope it's apparent just from how smoothly I'm getting through all this that this game is just an absolute joy to play. It feels great to play, the levels feel super well designed. If this were a real NES game of its time, it would have sold gangbusters, but some of the things they did to make it look and play as good as it does on the restrictions that it has are only really possible due to modern technology. Modern ways of, like, analyzing the code that just weren't feasible back in the day. So it's not quite a fair comparison. But comparatively, that other homebrew game I played, the Wampus game, people would have called out for being just The Legend of Zelda, but not as good. So, technological advancements obviously make a big difference, but they're not the be-all, end-all. You also have to be, like, really good at making games to be able to compete with those big boys, even with all the advantages you have. It'd be kind of neat if I could do the first playthrough without even getting hit, but that's unlikely. There's a fairly significant difficulty spike in the third tower. This boss, incidentally, is a lot harder on the second quest, because he acts a lot faster, so the lightning bolts come down a lot faster. The barrels take more hits to kill, so it's better to just sort of run away from them. Oh, and also it's an ice level. Like, it's a pretty big difference. That's already about the halfway point of the main game. One thing I think would not have been appreciated about this game if it were released back in the day is how approachable it is. I don't think people would have really liked that, because people are always going on about value for money when it comes to games. Okay, I got hurt trying to get points. Oh, interesting, that took a fairy instead of a, instead of the wing. That's weird. That was really my blustering incompetence showing through, but not punished too badly for it. At least it wasn't an instant kill. I'm pretty sure the blue Kool-Aid is an instant kill. So a big part of this game's design comes from things we've learned, particularly from Super Mario Bros., about antecedent tutorials. What that means is, instead of telling a player how to do something, you show them something in a very easy and easy to understand and easy to deal with manner. And then you start hitting them with it in a more difficult way. Some of those platforms are fake, by the way, you'll fall right through. So, like, when you first see the snakes, you see how they work, that they'll charge at you when they have line of sight. But the first ones are sitting in front of the lava pits, which both shows how they work without threatening you, and also showing that the lava pits are dangerous even to enemies. So definitely dangerous to you. And like, this guy isn't throwing those harpoons at any particularly good parts of the stage real estate. Oh, he will later, don't worry. There's just lots of cases of antecedent tutorials. So, famously, the idea comes from Super Mario Bros. 1-1. Like, the way you're given some blocks to interact with in a Goomba in a very easy to deal with way. Like, the Goomba will give you plenty of time to get out of the way before it hurts you. And even if you do get hurt, it's fine, because you're just, like, right there at the beginning. These things help teach you about the core fundamentals of the game. As a player, you're going to just try things, you're going to experiment, and you're going to very quickly learn then what works and what doesn't in this brand new scary Mario game you bought. And all of that without needing the instruction book. Because sure, the information is there in the instruction book, but let's be real, lots of people don't read it. And a game really has to be able to explain itself without that. I mean, what if a person gets it and they lose the instruction book before playing, or they were handed it down, or they, you know, got it secondhand or something? They need to be able to learn the game even though they don't have the main tool they're supposed to do so. So antecedent tutorials then work in place of modern standard tutorials, because you really just couldn't afford that sort of text in the old days. Like, text takes up kind of a linear amount of data. Sure, it's not much, but there's nothing you can really do to reduce the amount of data it takes, even if there's a lot of it. Whereas you can do that a lot with things like tile sets and repeated enemies and like palette swaps and such. Those things allow you to add a lot of extra content in a way that you kind of pay for it up front with the cost of the sprites and whatnot, and from then on you pay significantly less data to be able to reuse them in new ways according to your design principles. But text, a letter is a letter is a letter is a letter, and each one is going to cost you the same amount. So you want to just use them as little as possible. There's not any extra upfront cost, but the less you use, there's a few advantages. The less data you're using, and also the less translators have to do. And the less people who get the game but can't read the language will be confused. You don't need to be able to speak English or Japanese or any other language to understand how Mario works in 1.1 due to its antecedent tutorials. So you can kill this bat before he gets to you, but you have to be a mashing god. Once I get to the second quest, I think I'm going to turn on auto-fire. But for now, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. Also, the bat will die on its own after being out for a little while. Let's try a big mash. Didn't really get the chance. A dance. The music of this game is quite good, although I will say that the boss music is kind of lame. Which is a bummer. That's what you remember, you know, but it's possible that audio channels are being taken up by the boss mechanics, and so they can't have as complex a song play during it. That could be the issue. The NES has fairly limited sound channels, not as bad as like the Amiga or especially the Commodore 64. The Commodore 64 only had like 1 or 2 sound channels. I'm not sure exactly how many. Not many though, and that's why a lot of games of that era only had music or sound effects, never both. There just wasn't room. And I'll be a good noodle and skip the treasure. But not this treasure. This treasure is easy to get. Gimme. Yum, 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 yum. Honestly, those big skeletons are more dangerous if you kill them, just because the bones they shoot out when they die are a little hard to keep track of. Shortcut. You can only really do that shortcut if you have the wing. Already coming up on the end of the first playthrough. This one has 4 levels instead of the 3 that the others had. But otherwise, I mean, we're nearing the end. That's another reason why this is such a good speedrun game, is it's not that long. It doesn't take a big time commitment. So Pizza Tower, which recently came out, is looking really great, but what really surprised me is how long it is. It's remarkably long. Even the speedruns are still over an hour. And for a platformer, that's an eternity, especially such a fast-paced platformer. I mean, even my little non-speedrun amateur run of this is going to be like 25 minutes. So for it to be 2-3 times as long, for people who like know what they're doing, that's a long game. So antecedent-wise, if I weren't going so quickly, it would be pretty safe to engage that skull. If you shoot it, it starts moving faster, and it takes quite a lot of shots to kill. But where you first encounter it can be made pretty safe if you just take your time, like I was not. The wing really lets you do some nutty things. Hey, here's a better example. I can kill this skull safely. See, it takes quite a few shots. That was close. Getting past that bowl safely is a little tricky. And this next boss might seem a little familiar. Just like kind of deja vu-ish. They may have had some inspiration. You actually don't really need to do anything to this boss. It'll kill itself for you. Just get as many points as you can, you know. Then you take it up to the last level. Since enemies are a bit slow to act in this game, moving fast is often really quite safe. Like getting away from the goats before they really start shooting anything, for example. Ghosts and goats. Maybe that's the joke. Oh, that was sloppy. That was much sloppier. So boxes having health up items, I think, is random, but that one gave me a fairy, so I feel pretty confident fighting the final boss with just a fairy. And that's the whole pattern. watch the star fall, get in a few more shots, bait the 3 bullets, and repeat. That's it. That's the first playthrough. So if this were any percent, that'd be time. 25 minutes. I mean, I could have done it a lot faster. This room is a time machine devised by the Illuminator. Go ahead, challenge hard mode. Press A. And hard mode, it really means it. No guarantees on finishing hard mode, but if after like an hour and a half or so I'm still on it, I guess I'll stop. But otherwise, I'll give it a good faith effort. Few big things about hard mode. There's a lot more obstacles like these spikes and like the acid pools. Enemies move a lot faster and fire a lot faster, and there's a lot less health available. Otherwise, the levels are essentially the same, but those things are really major differences. And you really feel it. I mean, even just now you've seen how many more bones there are. And I still haven't found a health up, so I'm still sitting on, you know, no sparks, as it were. There's one. There's a feather. Every health up is really precious in hard mode, and you want to try to save it as much as you can, and also keep on the lookout for even more if you're not, you know, full up with both. And take your time in general, unless you're actually speedrunning. 1-2 hard, or, you know, Tower 1 hard mode isn't so bad. Tower 2 hard mode is where it starts to get really rough. And, I don't think I've ever beaten Tower 3 hard mode. Not that I gave it, like, that much of a try, just a bit, you know? Definitely don't want to be dying like that. So for like bosses and such here, I will be turning on turbo. Because, you know, I can do what I want. You won't really see the difference for the most part. It's literally, I'm using a TurboGrafx controller, so it's just a switch on my controller that I turn on. As opposed to enabling something from a menu or whatever. The use of auto-fire in games has got a bit of interesting history. For the most part, in like Japanese speedruns and high score attempts, it's been acceptable for a lot longer, and it's just starting to gain traction in, you know, the Western world of gaming. The biggest reason for allowing it is accessibility. People with arthritis and such, no matter what, they really just can't mash quickly, or if they tried, they'd get hurt. They'd hurt themselves. But yet mashing is a skill that you can test for. So if you're allowing auto-fire, you're saying, okay, we're not going to be testing for mashing ability now. And the people who spent a lot of time getting good at it, because very fast mashing is really impressive. Oh, jeez. Might feel a little slighted. But, I mean, it's just not worth hurting yourself over, you know? Now, let's turn on that auto... Oh, that's the jump auto-fire, not the fire auto-fire. So you're gonna probably really notice the difference with this boss and how much faster it moves. Since it moves in a sine wave. Also, it's gonna drop little ghosties now. But also, there's the fast auto fire really kicking in. When you get right up on an enemy and just hold the auto fire, you tear into him. Button mashing can be painful for you. Painful for a lot of people. I was watching a Kusa Grande match once where one of the main problems with the game is that its swimming controls required really obscure mashing. Like, not just mashing, but also, like, left and right D-pad buttons. And the guy who gave it out was cackling like, oh, that's so awful, they'll hate it. And then they had to stop the match because one of the players had arthritis and didn't know ahead of time that there would be intensive mashing. And it's like, this literally hurts. And so they had to, you know, ditch that game and choose new rules going forward. It's what really made me sit on the side of allowing auto fire. So it's ice level time. The ice physics in this aren't too egregious, but they definitely do get in the way. Now I'm really schmoovin'. And there you can really see how a speedrun in this game would just look and feel great to do. These enemies, these green goblins are really annoying now in hard mode, because they just jump to avoid your shots so quickly. Unless you can get under them, then they're pretty helpless. That was close. No! Okay. That was not a health up. Oh, well, there's my first death. Weirdly gory. There will be more. Ah, oh, jeez. Yeah, get dunked on. Come on. So I'm pretty sure there's a false floor underneath this treasure pile, but I have no idea how to, like, get to it. Scary ghosties. Health, not health. Just points. There's health. Oh. Those ice physics a little bit more than I thought they would. Immediate replacement. Okay. Killed that goat cleanly enough. Using the feather, you can hover in place and get some shots in a way that can be safe, but it's a little awkward because you have to hold the jump button while mashing fire, or it's a bit easier with auto fire turned on. Alright, auto fire on. Focus mode engaged. Oh, careful mode engaged. Clench mode engage. Ooh, it's clutch. Ooh, another life though, that's super nice. Oh. There is a chest over there. Let me up. I like even in challenge mode, those snakes still just fly off the ledge. No one's stopping them from embracing death. Oof. Oh! Enemy iframes. Lined up just so. And really screwed me. That was going really well, too. No health there. Oh, there's an HP up. I never know exactly where the hole is. The snake helps you find it, but you still have to kind of feel it out. It's really becoming Discount Lava Warehouse in here. Oop. Snakes do seem a bit self-destructive. We sometimes have to be wary of the Minotaurs chucking spears from downtown. If they go off the top of the screen, the spears will despawn, but sometimes like the screen will scroll just enough that it no longer despawns and then falls all the way to the bottom of the screen where your sorry butt's waiting. Let that go by first. Oh, nice. I got max health. Oop. Ah. I wasn't quite sure where the safe spot was. Already back to 3-3 though. It's going well. Especially nice having the wing here. Lets you do some tricksy jumps. Staying right next to the Minotaurs can actually be one of the safest spots. Yeah, let's just get straight up to that boss fight. The swords go out further and the bat is there for longer. Right. Nice. The auto fire is enough to defeat the bat, so that makes this fight trivial. Oh, that's right, he has another phase in this one. That's a sneaky move, adding another phase for the challenge mode. Whew, that was tense. Alright, coming up on the end again. No! Got him, and then I got. I don't know if this jump is possible. purple, but it kind of looks like it is. At any rate, there's a chest over here, so... Feather, nice. Ooh. That was spicy. I wasn't sure if the goblin would jump down after me, so I played it safe. Oh, I didn't know the fans hurt you if you touched them. And then I just sort of fat-fingered and panicked. Oh, that was close. Well, now I gotta do this way. Just made it this time. No health, though. I've got to do this part the right way. But I got it. I still have a decent number of lives left, like 3 or 4. 4. Yeah, there's the health. Jumping above the wind current keeps you safer from it. Let me up. Let me up. There we go. At least the checkpoints are still plentiful. I really don't want to shoot this guy since he's faster. Unless I have on the turbo. Oh, nope, not fast enough. Oh, the eyeball. That's starting to get dicey. Okay, got him that time. There we go. And it wasn't even health. Yeah, false floor. Really need some lives now, though. Yeah, it looks like I need wings to be able to get across that. No, not fast enough. Well, last life. I found the health. Alright. Well, time to continue back at 4-1. Let's try really hard not to lose this feather. Okay, it's going well. Take the shortcut. Going a lot better this time. Nice, got the extra HP. Nope! And immediately lost it. Sloppy, sloppy. And that's not HP. Are you kidding me? 69, nice. Let's see if it's not health again. No, it is health this time. Get down here. Yep. I was like, I'm making good time. I'm making it through. Oh, that's the wrong way. Tunnel visioned really hard there. I really have to lay into him. Come on, I'm just trying to get health. Okay, alright, well, sure. Let's go again. Let's go again. The eyeballs are so dangerous when they're faster. They already were kind of dangerous, but oh, challenge mode, they're nasty. Still no health from those boxes. Bummer. It's not letting me fly. There we go. There, that was clean. This time with less immediately throwing away the extra health. Better at dodging than I am. Ugh. There, made it through 1 and 2 with no lives lost, and with 2 health. That's really good. Nice. That's the power of auto fire, baby. Give me money. All right, Space Invaders boss. Let's see. Well, they're dropping guano, I guess, more often. But they're still automatically dying. Alright, final level time, presumably. Challenge mode might make things different, like it added an extra stage to the level 3 boss. Ah. No pity wing for an idiot like me. Come back with that. Oh boy. I have no idea how to get into that chest. It doesn't seem like there's any open spaces. I think it's just there to tease you. Well, let's try to not get hit. Oh, that was a bad first try. It'd be nice if those gave me any health. shoot and shoot and shoot. And blink and shoot and shoot and shoot. Ah, got trapped. Oh, it's getting scary. Blink and shoot and shoot and shoot. 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 Okay. I don't trust that it's done yet, yeah. Use my magic! Wonder how many hits it wants out of me. Real Kirby's Adventure in Dreamland energy here. Ooh. Oh no. Oh, starting me right again here. I'm pressing on the D-pad really hard. It's kind of hurting my thumb. No idea how many hits this will take. Ugh, gotta shake my hand. Oh. Didn't expect how much I'd have to lead my shots in a game like this. Man, really makes my hand cramp. Yeah! Alright! Oh. Oh, ow, my hand. Oh, Popper. One. Princess. Arf. Let's go home. Woo and woof. So I would have had about 120,000 points if I didn't game over. Because I had about 100k before getting my game over. Yeah, that's, I knew it was going to be a good one, and it was. Looks like this is one of those the end screens where, you're trapped. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's it for today. Tomorrow is Halloween Forever. And it's sort of the beginning of the spooky trio. Halloween Forever, SpookyGhosts.com, and Luminous. Just sort of ended up that way. 3, not horror games, but like horror-adjacent Halloween-y games. Like spooky, scary skeletons. So that's what's going to be coming up. Very neat little platformer, and it is totally NES compliant, which is super neat. Although, in order to get the second quest, that requires a second cartridge. Each quest, each difficulty, basically, is the full 32 kilobytes. But you could also absolutely use a flash cart with a 64K memory to have them both. And yeah, this would have slapped back in the day.